Hello everyone, welcome to another video. My name is Kemal AA and this is your preview for the Chelsea versus Arsenal game taking place tomorrow, 8 PM kickoff at Stamford Bridge in game week 36 against Arsenal, a massive London derby. In terms of us, there's a lot to play for, still a lot on the line. We have to win this game. If we win this game, we mathematically secure top four. If Arsenal don't win this game, it doesn't mean anything for them. Their season is done and dusted. This is why London is blue. I don't need to keep saying this, yeah? London was blue, London is blue, and London will forever be blue. We're better in Europe. We've got more Premier Leagues. Yes, they have more league titles, but they haven't been relevant for over nearly 2 decades. So for me, London will always be blue. They got knocked out by Villarreal last Thursday. They're not going to secure a European place for next season. They're not even going to get 7th place. They're not even going to, deep this right, they're not even going to secure a European Conference League place. So for an Arsenal fan, but their club is a complete mess from top to bottom, from the ownership to the fans, to the fan standards, to the players, to the deadwood, the manager. They've got a lot of problems. I'm not here to talk about Arsenal, but I'm just here to state the fact that London will always be blue. And again, as I said, Chelsea, we have a lot to play for. As I said, if we win this game, we secure the 3 points, we mathematically secure top four. As a result, the Leicester and Aston Villa game are a bit dead rubber games. It's not crucial to win those because it means we have secured Champions League qualification for next season. Then we can fully focus on the FA Cup final this Saturday, and we can fully focus on a massive game, our biggest game in a decade, and that is against Man City in the Champions League final, which is actually quite embarrassing. Think about it this way. It's the 11th of May. The final takes place on 29th of May. And the venue still hasn't been confirmed yet. It was going to be Istanbul, but because of COVID protocols and regulations and the fact that Turkey is on the UK's red list, fans can't travel and come back without being quarantined. They can't hold it at Wembley because UEFA executives and sponsorship people, the executives, the CEOs, etc., have to quarantine upon their return, and UEFA don't want that. They're not allowed to. So now they're saying that it could be held in Portugal, but I'll make a separate video on this. Now in this preview, I'll be delving into Thomas Tuchel's press conference, which he held about 2 hours ago. I'll be delving into my predicted lineup, and of course I'll be ending it with a score prediction for you guys. But before I do get into all of it, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and let's get straight into this preview for the Arsenal game. Now, in terms of team news, there's 2 players to specifically talk about, and that is Mateo Kovacic and Andreas Christensen, because the rest of the team is fully match fit, 100% fit. Now we know Christensen picked up that hamstring injury against Man City, and we feared the worst. I feared the worst, certainly. I thought that he wouldn't make it for the final against Man City because hamstrings are a good 2-3 weeks. However, he said that we have an eye on the player's workload, and everybody who is not at risk of an injury is available. Now in terms of Andreas Christensen, of course, he's ruled out for the Arsenal game, but apparently his injury is not serious. It's a pull tendon, and he should be back just before the end of the Premier League season. If he's not back for the Leicester Premier League game, he will definitely be back for the final game of the season against Aston Villa, and therefore he will be 100% match fit for our Champions League final, which is the big one anyway. So for me, that's amazing news. It's fantastic. He made a quick recovery. It's not as serious as it first seemed. In terms of Mateo Kovacic, unfortunately, he's still not match fit for Arsenal. He's been ruled out of the game tomorrow. From what I know, he trained with the squad yesterday, but Tuchel and the rest of the Chelsea staff and team, they don't want to risk Kovacic for Arsenal because he's such a crucial player. So again, there's no point risking him against Arsenal, and he should be available for selection against Leicester this weekend in the cup final. So in terms of injuries, it's really only Christensen and Kovacic, and both of them haven't got a long-term injury. So fantastic news. Fingers crossed it stays that way. The rest of the squad are fully fit. He said that he has no preference where the Champions League final is in regards to venue. He said they will play where they are told to. Thomas Tuchel praises Frank Lampard for the job he did for the first half of the season at Chelsea. He says when you think about Chelsea, you think about people like Frank Lampard. Thomas Tuchel says Chelsea are focused on themselves, not Arsenal. Nothing surprises him in the Premier League with results. He can get caught on any level. Thomas Tuchel says Chelsea will prepare and need their best level against Arsenal to keep their good run going. Mateo Kovacic is out and ruled out for the Arsenal clash, as I've already mentioned. Thomas Tuchel hopes Mateo Kovacic can return against Leicester City for the FA Cup final, and Thomas Tuchel hopes Andreas Christensen can return to the side before the end of the Premier League season. He says he was worried about the club's expectations when he arrived. He didn't want to wish too much or too little. He was joking about this. He then went on to say that the next 3 weeks are exciting, but he won't say if it's his biggest as a manager because he doesn't want to make any sort of comparisons. He says it's down to Chelsea to finish the season well and not just to participate. This is the challenge. It's demanding, it's tiring, but the best way to finish the season. He says Chelsea didn't lay out the expectations fully, but agreed that they played the competition to win it. This club is built on winning games and competitions. He then went on to praise Edouard Mendy. He says there's a fantastic atmosphere between the Chelsea goalkeepers. He says that Edouard Mendy is a kind, humble person, which also helps him during the games. He says Billy Gilmour stepped up and delivered against Man City. He says Mateo Kovacic is a big loss to the Chelsea side, a unique player who you can always, of course, rely on. And he finally wanted to say that Chelsea will only be successful if they consistently perform at a high level. This is not the time for praise, it's the time to finish the job. And that is essentially summarising Thomas Tuchel's press conference. He didn't really go into further detail. That was essentially the main details of the press conference as I watched it. And again, as I said, I've given you guys the team news. Kovacic and Christensen are unfortunately ruled out for the game tomorrow, but both of them haven't got long-term injury, so both of them should be back. Kovacic should be back this weekend for the cup final, and Christensen should be back hopefully for the end of the Premier League season. So good news in regards to that. Now let's get into my predicted lineup. This is going to be interesting because some rotation is required. We saw some rotation against Man City on the weekend, and you're expected to see some rotation this evening, tomorrow evening, apologies, because of course we've got the FA Cup final on Saturday, which is the game that has a lot more weight and magnitude to it, because of course it is a cup final, an opportunity to win a trophy. Now, formation is standard. I don't need to mention it. We all know he's going to play a 3-4-2-1. That's the formation. Edouard Mendy in goal. I don't need to say more on that. He's our Premier League goalkeeper. Now, the back three is quite interesting because, of course, Christensen has been injured for this game. He's been ruled out for the game, so we know he's not going to play, so it makes it a lot more simpler. Now, the only question here is, do you play Azpilicueta or do you play Kurt Zouma? Now, for me, I've gone for Kurt Zouma. Now, he could easily play Azpilicueta, the captain, but for me, personally, I think that Zouma, he's much better aerially. He's a more natural centre-back compared to Azpilicueta. Of course, you've got the aerial threat from Arsenal with Aubameyang, with Lacazette, etc. You've got the aerial threat from Arsenal. And by having Zouma, who's superior in the air, you nullify that threat. So I've gone for Thiago Silva, of course, the experience. We don't really have any other choice. And he got rested against Man City. It makes perfect logical sense for Thiago Silva to slot in a central centre-back position. I've gone for Antonio Rudiger, Roadman Rudiger at left centre-back, of course. He's been tremendous ever since Thomas Tuchel's arrival. Kurt Zouma, right centre-back. But again, it could easily be Azpilicueta in that right centre-back position. And I wouldn't be surprised if it is Azpilicueta. But for me, I believe that he will go for Kurt Zouma and give Azpilicueta a bit of a rest, because as he's been playing constantly, at his age, at his experience, it's knackering. We need him. We still got some tough fixtures coming up. We need him fully fit. Wing backs, I've gone for Ben Chilwell, left wing back, and Reece James, right wing back. Now again, Reece James is a strange one because again, you can easily play either Azpilicueta or Hudson-Odoi. Now you'll see, as you can see right now, I've played Hudson-Odoi further forward. I'll give you guys my tactical reasoning in a second. Chilwell, he got rested against Man City, so he's fully fresh. He has match fitness. He's had a week's rest. He can perfectly play this game. Although Alonso, he's in some fine form. He was quite decent against Man City defensively, and of course he got that last minute winner against Man City. So again, Alonso could play tomorrow evening, and Chilwell could play against Leicester in the FA Cup final, of course, which has a lot more magnitude. But considering Chilwell was rested, and of course this game still has some relevance and some importance, chances of Chelsea for securing Champions League qualification, I believe Chilwell will retain his position at left wing back. Of course, he's got a much better engine. He's much better defensively and going forward as well. His crossing stats are much better if you look at the metrics. Reece James, right wing back. I know, again, another player that's played a lot of football recently. He played a full 90 against Man City, but before that he did come on against Real Madrid, so he didn't start the game, so he still has that match fitness. I've gone for Reece James. He's got that threat going forward as well with that crossing ability. So Reece James, right wing back, and that pivot, Jorginho and Gilmour. Now, some of you may be thinking, where's Kante? For me, the answer's simple. Kovacic, he's been ruled out. He's injured. He will hopefully be back this weekend. But Jorginho and Kante have been playing consistently together, week in, week out, every 3-4 days, and it's tiring. These high pressure, high moment games, I don't want to risk an injury. Now, again, Kante, Gilmour, that was a partnership against Man City, so Jorginho was rested pretty much the whole entire game. So Jorginho has the match fitness, and Kante has been playing non-stop. So I think Kante needs that full 90-minute rest ahead of our game against Leicester in the cup final. And again, of course, Kovacic's injury means that Jorginho and Gilmour is a logical solution, and they actually work much better compared to Kante Gilmour. I think that Jorginho and Gilmour has a lot more chemistry together, that link up, controlling and dominating the midfield. Essentially both of them being press resistant is also crucial. The front three, I'm going for Mason Mount, of course, fully rested against Man City. Hudson-Odoi further forward in his favourite position, in the left wing position, linking up the play, controlling the ball. His close control, dribbling, agility in between the lines and the half spaces, his goal threat. Again, Tuchel has spoken very highly of him. He's not been happy with his attitude in training, but he's spoken very highly of him in his potential. Hudson-Odoi in his favourite position. He's been rested. He hasn't had much game time recently. Rotation is required. Rest Pulisic ahead of the cup final. And then Kai Havertz was rested against Man City. Kai Havertz in a false 9 position, dropping in the pockets of space in between lines, linking up the play with your Hudson-Odoi or Mason Mount. And of course, he's got the aerial presence and the ability to score a goal because he has that goal threat. Of course, now that is my predicted lineup ahead of our Arsenal game tomorrow evening, 8:15 p.m. kickoff at Stamford Bridge. Massive game, London derby, an opportunity for Chelsea to wrap up top 4 once and for all. What do you guys think? Leave me your thoughts, opinions in the comment section below. Give me your score prediction. I'm going to go for a 2-0 Chelsea, another clean sheet for Chelsea. Leave me your thoughts, opinions and your score predictions in the comment section below. And I'll see all of you guys for my next video. Peace.